The tavern on Station Harkin drifted in a quiet corner of the trade ring, illuminated only by dim blue lights that flickered each time the aging power coils sighed. Most patrons claimed the place survived on stubbornness alone. Yet it remained. Full most nights because the drinks were cheap and the bartender served without judgment. His name was Rian. No one knew much about him. No one cared. He wiped counters, poured drinks, spoke little, and blended into the background with practiced calm. Rian appeared fragile to most. He had short dark hair, a plain shirt, and tired eyes that never hinted at the battles he once survived. The few scars that crossed his hands looked like old kitchen burns rather than the traces of weapon fire. When he moved quietly. When he listened with patience. It was easy to assume he was nothing more than a human trying to get by among species stronger and wealthier than his own. The peace of the tavern fractured on the night. A squad of armored alien guards pushed through the doors. They belonged to a species known for towering frames, plated hides, and the belief that might determine worth. They worked for the station's ruling council and were widely disliked. Their laughter rolled through the room like metal grinding across stone. They crossed the floor with heavy steps that rattled every loose bottle on the shelves. Rian watched them enter without emotion. He had seen their type before. He had also seen worse. The guards scanned the room until they spotted him behind the bar. One of them raised a clawed hand and beckoned mockingly. The others snickered. A few patrons glanced in sympathy, though none dared intervene. Rian stepped forward with the same quiet stride he always used. The leader of the guards slammed his fist on the counter. The impact rattled the glasses. He demanded drinks with a rough voice that echoed across the tavern. Rian nodded and prepared the order. The guards leaned back, exchanged sneering comments, and amused themselves by insulting whichever unfortunate target they saw fit. Tonight their target was him. They called him soft. They called him weak. They mocked humans in general, describing them as frail creatures whose only purpose was to entertain tougher species. Each insult was loud enough for the entire tavern to hear. They expected anger or fear. Instead, they met only calm eyes and a quiet reply, thanking them for their patience. Their mockery intensified. The leader reached across the counter and lifted Rian by the collar. Patrons froze. Chairs scraped the floor as several prepared to retreat. No one believed the bartender would resist. Many assumed he would beg. Instead, Rian remained still. His expression did not change. His hands stayed relaxed at his sides. The guard laughed in his face and shoved him back. Rian regained his balance as if the shove carried no weight. He placed a bottle on the counter and poured each drink evenly. Not a drop spilled. His voice was steady as he slid the cups toward them. The guards had expected a trembling hand. This annoyed them. They wanted fear. They wanted the validation of their own strength. The leader snarled and demanded to know why Rian did not cower. Rian only replied that a bartender must stay calm for all guests. This answer only irritated the guard more. He lifted his cup, pretended to toast the human's useless bravery, and threw the drink in Rian's face. Liquid ran down his cheek. He did not wipe it away. The room fell silent. One of the guards knocked over a table. Another seized a smaller patron by the shirt and ordered him to cheer. The tavern buzzed with growing tension. A fight felt inevitable. Yet Rian continued to stand still. His hands remained at his sides. His gaze remained even and controlled. The guards interpreted this as weakness. They did not know the truth. Long before he poured drinks for travelers, Rian had another name. On Earth, he once carried the title of the most dreaded warrior humanity had ever produced. He had trained in environments that crushed lesser soldiers. He had fought in wars that chewed armies into dust. His record included missions that military leaders still whispered about with unease. But that life belonged to the past. He left it behind the day he realized he no longer wished to be a weapon. Rian opened a tavern in neutral space because he yearned for quiet. He wanted a life where no one screamed orders. No one died beside him. No one feared him. He found comfort in stacking glasses and organizing shelves. The gentle rhythm of pouring drinks soothed him more than battle ever had. He believed he buried the warrior forever. Tonight he learned the universe rarely let anyone escape their past. The guards demanded entertainment. They wanted to prove humans were weak. They wanted Rian to kneel. He refused. Not with anger, but with the same gentle firmness he used to refuse credit from patrons who had already paid. The leader's face twisted with rage. He grabbed a heavy metal crate and raised it as if preparing to smash it down on the counter. The moment stretched as every patron held their breath. The crate never landed. Rian moved. It was a small motion, yet impossibly fast. His hand shot forward and caught the crate mid-swing. The guard's eyes widened. He tried to pull it free. It did not budge. Rian set the crate on the floor without any strain. Silence filled the tavern. The guard stared at him as if seeing him for the first time. The leader snarled and swung a fist the size of a small boulder. Rian shifted aside. The punch hit empty air. The force of the missed blow nearly toppled the guard forward. Rian pressed one palm against the guard's chest and guided him backward with effortless control. The guard stumbled 2 steps and crashed into a table. Chairs scattered. The tavern gasped. Another guard charged. Rian sidestepped again and tapped behind the alien's knee. The guard collapsed. A third lunged with both arms outstretched. Rian ducked under them and swept the creature's legs. 3 armored bodies hit the ground. None suffered lasting harm, yet each felt the humiliation of being dismantled with no more force than a bartender might use to push aside a stubborn crate. The leader roared and drew an electric baton from his belt. The weapon crackled with blue current. He swung wildly. Rian seized the wrist holding the baton and squeezed. The weapon slipped from the alien's grip. Rian tossed it onto the counter. He leaned closer and spoke quietly. Only the immediate tables heard the words. They froze the guard more effectively than any weapon. The guard backed away. He inhaled sharply. He demanded to know who Rian truly was. Rian gave no answer. He simply stepped back behind the counter and asked if anyone wished for their drinks to be replaced. That broke the tension. Some patrons laughed nervously. Others stared at him in awe. The guards, shocked and confused, scrambled to their feet. The leader tried to recover dignity by ordering Rian arrested. The guards moved forward reluctantly. Before they reached the bar, a group of patrons stood between them. No one had ever dared oppose them before. Tonight they did. The guards hesitated. They turned to Rian again and saw that he stood calm, unthreatening, and uninterested in further conflict. That puzzled them more than any display of strength. The leader growled a final insult and signaled his squad to retreat. They left the tavern in stumbled disorder. Once the door shut behind them, the room erupted with chatter. Patrons swarmed toward the bar, eager to know who Rian actually was. He dismissed the questions with a small smile. He claimed he had experience with unruly customers. That was all. They wanted to believe more. He refused to say more. A traveler at the corner table whispered that he recognized the movement style. He had seen old footage from Earth's military archives. He asked directly if Rian had once been the legendary phantom soldier whose missions became cautionary tales for invaders. Rian did not confirm or deny. He wiped the glass and changed the subject. The traveler respected the silence. As the night wore on, the tavern returned to its usual rhythm. Yet subtle changes had taken hold. Patrons treated Rian with a newfound respect. They spoke softly. They thanked him more sincerely. They understood that beneath the quiet bartender stood a man shaped by storms they could hardly imagine. Rian accepted their kindness without pride. He only hoped the incident would not spread beyond these walls. Deep in the corridors outside the tavern, the guards regrouped. Their pride had suffered. Their anger simmered. They considered returning with heavier weapons. They considered calling reinforcements. But the memory of Rian's calm eyes held them back. Something in him unsettled them on a primal level. They had mocked him without knowing the danger. They now understood they approached a force far beyond their usual victims. The leader reported the encounter to his commander. The commander dismissed the story as exaggeration. He reminded the guards that humans were insignificant. Yet even he paused as he replayed the details. A bartender stopping a swinging crate with one hand. A frail human disarming a charged baton with a squeeze. These details gnawed at his assumptions. He ordered the guards to avoid the tavern until he investigated further. The following week passed quietly. The tavern filled again with merchants, pilots, engineers, and wanderers. The rumor of the incident spread through the station. Some dismissed it. Some believed every word. A few whispered that Rian possessed the kind of discipline only found in elite human units long retired from war. Rian continued to serve drinks and wipe counters. He kept his posture relaxed, even when whispers brushed his ears. One night, a visitor in a faded Earth uniform entered the tavern. He approached the bar with a respectful nod. He asked to speak with Rian.